Hello guys, KaiZerZan here, back with another video. In today's video I'll be covering the new Halloween game mode that we have for this season, for this year, for 2022. I did a guide on this same game mode more or less last year, and I'll just be giving some additional information and a few useful tips and tricks for you guys to hopefully help you guys get the 5-star a little easier. Alright, so while this gameplay is on the background, I'll be going over a few tips and techniques and stuff that I used, and hopefully some valuable information that I will be able to share with you guys. So yeah, enjoy the background footage. This was me and my one of my division mates in Nightmare mode, 5-starring, and yeah, before we go any further, I'd just like to point out that I'm using the cruiser, the Hyper Viper, and I'm in the commander that I'm using is of course the only option we have is Daniel Brassfender. And yeah, I just expect a full offensive build with a little bit of incoming damage reduction. And yeah, hopefully that will be something of use to you guys. All right, so first off, I'm just going to go over the requirements that we need for this game mode to get a 5-star. Is first off, you need to secure 2 of the 3 towers that must be saved by the end of the time cycle. So you must at least save at least 2 out of the 3 towers. Then you need to kill Gorgon, which is the aircraft carrier, and you need to kill Rasputin, which I believe is the enemy battleship of this game mode. And then we also need to kill 28 ships in the filth. That's inside this purple ring, and then we also need to save Transylvania, which I believe is one of the most neglected aspects of this game mode that a lot of people struggle with. Is sometimes people don't pay attention to Transylvania, they do their own thing, and then they still don't manage to successfully clear out the 5 stars. Alright, so yeah, just to be a little bit transparent here, the Nightmare mode requires 28 ships, I believe, that you need to kill within the filth, and that is of course lower on normal difficulty and a little bit lower as well on the easy mode. So just to keep that in mind. It's 28 requirement for the Nightmare mode. Alright, so yeah, the tips and tricks I'll be discussing now will be relevant to all 3 difficulty levels, but especially relevant to the Nightmare mode to hopefully help you guys get that 5-star a little easier. Alright, so my first and most important tip that I can give you guys is to play in a division. Of course, I think that's pretty straightforward. You want to be playing in a 3-man division with friends if you can, if you have any that are available during this period. And I would highly recommend you guys stay in party chat with each other and communicate through the mic very clearly about which player is doing what and what are the main objectives are that you guys want to allocate between you guys. And if you want to play with randoms, also please, I would encourage you to use your microphone. You never know, there might be 1 or 2 of the randoms listening that might be able to communicate with you, and you guys can form a strategy and a plan, and hopefully you guys will have a little bit more success. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about compositions. I would highly recommend you guys play in a 3-man division with 1 destroyer, 1 cruiser, and 1 battleship. Or otherwise, you can take 1 battleship and 2 cruisers. But I would highly recommend that you at least take 1 ship in your division that has torpedoes, so either the cruiser or the destroyer, because I find the best way to kill Gorgon, the aircraft carrier, is with torpedoes. So I would highly recommend that you guys take at least 1 ship with torpedoes, whether that be the Hyper Viper or the Jewel, the destroyer. So yes. Up next, I'll be going into ship class specific tips that I found out for this. If you just quickly go into the footage here on the screen, the match in the background, here I am torpedoing the Gorgon. And as you guys can see, I pop a reload booster as well. We'll get to that later. And you see I took half his hit points with the torpedoes, which is very, very nice. If you had a destroyer, you probably could have dev struck him with the torpedoes. And it's also by using my guns here, I was able to finish him off with the help of a teammate there. But yeah, the main concept is you want to take something with torpedoes to take out the Great Gorgon. Alright, so now we're going to focus on class-specific tips. We're going to start off with the destroyer. I would recommend that you play inside the filth, this purple ring. You will take damage, yes, but you have one very unique attribute to the destroyer, you've got the engine boost. And the engine boost repairs your health while you are inside the filth. So you get extra speed, yes, and you also get a little bit of a heal, which is very, very nice. And Yeah, just spam torpedoes in the destroyer. You want to be on reload, you want to be sending out those torpedoes at everything you possibly can, but you want to be very careful when you go hunt the aircraft carrier or the Rasputin, whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you have a rack of torpedoes available to engage with at that particular point in the match. You don't want to be sailing without torpedoes on that when you're hunting the Gorgon or Rasputin. And I would highly recommend you stay unspotted. Don't use your guns that often. Of course, you can use your guns, but when there's a lot of enemy ships close by, you don't want to be using your guns because the enemy battleships, the Vargs, their secondaries will be eating you up alive. And if you die, your team loses spotting and the ability to send out massive torpedo damage, which is very bad for the team. Alright, so next up I'm going to talk about the cruiser here, the Hyper Viper, which in my opinion is the strongest ship out of all three classes that you can pick between the destroyer, the battleship, and the cruiser. For this game mode specifically, yeah, just cycle your guns, AP and HE. It's a Hipper based ship, so it's based on the Hipper. The Hyper Viper with the AP is exceptionally good and the HE is also really good. So yes, I would highly recommend AP. This whole match in the background I was shooting AP the whole time. It does enough damage to destroy, so you don't have to worry about switching to HE for every destroyer you want to shoot at. AP is more than sufficient, but if you want to switch, you're more than welcome to. Try and put yourself in a flanking position where you can find the broadside of ships and quickly and easily dispatch broadside cruisers or destroyers and pump out some damage on those broadside Vargs, those battleships, to try and help the team remove them as quickly as possible. And very important to note, the consumable that you have on this ship is a reload booster. I believe that's the most powerful skill in the game here, in this game mode, is to allow you to heal the amount of damage you deal, or a portion of that at least. So when you are low and you're inside the filth and you're low, you're being focus fired by a lot of ships, you're taking damage, or maybe on a flood or a fire, you're in a few things incapacitated, you take a lot of damage. Pop that reload booster. You guys can see that in the background. I am healing all the damage I do, and by shooting the enemy ships with a reload booster, you get obviously better reload, but you also get the ability to heal quite nicely. Then of course use that as soon as you need it, and when you want to take down Rasputin or the Gorgon, make sure that you have a reload booster available. And then also the radar is very useful, 15-kilometer range to spot enemy ships that other teammates of yours can't see. Very useful, 15-kilometer range, use it wisely, and yeah, use it as often as you can, don't forget to use it. And then, of course, prioritize the enemy destroyers as they will be torping your friendly battleships. So you want to be removing those instead of focusing on the battleships and only chasing damage. Prioritize those destroyers, at least in my opinion. That's the best way to keep your battleships alive, is to definitely try and support them by taking out the destroyers. Alright, next we have the battleship, and I'd highly recommend the battleship to stay right next to Transylvania, escort her the whole way, and be the damage tank or the barrier between the enemy ships and Transylvania as a pure damage sponge to help draw out some fire towards yourself to tank for the team. That's your primary objective in my opinion, and then also just deal damage and shoot as many ships as you can, deal damage. And use your heal. You have a heal available, that healing ring, to heal Transylvania as well, and some of your other ships in your team, your friendlies. Also your division mates when they're low, or the cruiser, maybe the destroyer that's in the filth. Pop a heal if they're close enough. Check the range, and then pop a heal to support the team there. And stay outside the border of the filth. I would highly recommend you stay outside the filth just for safety's sake. Now we're almost done here. You can also ram Rasputin with that invincibility shield if necessary to take no damage, and also you will deal significant damage to Rasputin without taking ramming damage, so that's very important. You will take a flood though, most likely, so you can put that out as well with the damage con later on. And that's more or less all I have for you guys. This was a 5-star on the Hyper Viper and Nightmare mode. I hope you guys find some of these tips and tricks at least useful, and I hope it makes your life a little easier trying to hunt for the 5 stars on all of the difficulty levels. If you have any questions, pop it down in the comments. I'd like to hear from you guys, and if any of these tips helped you a lot, please do come back and leave us a comment. I would really appreciate that. If you guys did like this video, please hit that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Auf Wiedersehen.